May 1990, a world record of 40 league championships and another milestone for Graham Souness, the man who's transformed Rangers and Scottish football.
I want to try and establish something here that I'll be lasting. You know, that when my time comes for me to go, that I'll stand back and maybe be given another job somewhere within the club and say, well, I was partly responsible for creating whatever we've created.
Match day at Ibrox Stadium, and the fans beat a path to Rangers' doors. This is the club which starts out with 22,000 season ticket holders and then tries to cope with the overwhelming demand for the remaining seats. Rangers Football Club turns over more cash than any of its rivals, and not just at the turnstiles. In commercial terms, it's a multi-million-pound industry, but the huge crowds which turn up at every game are a constant reminder that this is a company firmly based in the entertainment business.
Wow.
The impact of Graham Souness is measured first and foremost by the quality of his playing staff. In net terms, his squad has cost £7 million to assemble, and that includes players who have competed at the highest level, not just in Britain, but also in Europe. Souness alone has been credited with a revolution, which has made Rangers able to attract the kind of player who'd previously have said no. Foreign stars and internationalists who could easily have made their living in England or even in the more lucrative surroundings of Italy and Germany have chosen instead to come to Glasgow to earn top wages at Ibrox and stake their reputations in the tough world of the Premier League. It's a far cry from the days leading sports journalist Doug Bailey best remembers about Scottish football. His son Lex plays for Celtic, but it was the famous Rangers team of the early 60s which made Big Doug a well-known character. So how does the man who played alongside Jim Baxter view the Rangers revolution?
There's absolutely no doubt about it. Graham Souness has done a U-turn for the Rangers Football Club and for Scottish football in general. Graham Souness was learned his trade at Spurs in Middlesbrough and Liverpool. And in those days, the big English clubs had their pick of the Scottish players. There's no shadow of a doubt about it. They just came across the border, picked a Scottish player and went back down again. He proved to Scottish clubs that they can do the same to English clubs. And nowadays, the big Scottish clubs can have their pick of top-class English players. And that's because of Graham Souness.
In my opinion, Graham Souness is the sole reason in the soccer revolution that's happened in Scotland over the last 4 years. And we were always regarded as a nursery in Scotland for the English clubs. You know, let's just see how these young Scots players are playing, let's offer them a couple of bob and we'll bring all the good players down to England, you know, and enhance their league and make it a better league. What Graham Souness did was quite remarkable and total role reversal. Started to buy quality current internationals, started to pay £1 million for players which had never been heard of in Scotland before. So to say he would single-handedly revolutionise that would be no understatement.
It was a challenge to me. I looked at the situation and I was told how big a club Glasgow Rangers was, and I didn't really understand that until I actually got here and got halfway through the first season. For me it's been different class. We had a great start. I think that we went 9 points behind in the league in the first year, and I think everybody thought we'd lost it and they was calling us big money flops, and we managed to pull together, you know, everybody stuck by each other, and we came out eventual champions in the first season, and we won the Skull Cup also, so you know, things was really looking rosy.
I went out and tried to buy several players in Scotland, the better ones, And maybe quite rightly so, the managers up here wouldn't deal with me. So there was no option, no other option open to me other than going to England to look for players.
Stevens wide to Stephen. It's a great ball inside again! Johnston for Rangers! His first goal in competitive play for Rangers!
Of all the signings made by Graham Souness, none attracted more publicity than that of Maurice Johnston, the first Roman Catholic to play for modern-day Rangers. He was signed last year after pulling out of a move back to his old club, Celtic. It was a deal which stunned Scottish football, for most people had firmly believed that such a signing would never take place.
Never in 1,000 years. There was never a Catholic player when I was at Ibrox. And I know that since Mo Johnson has signed for Rangers, there are several people that have never, ever gone back to the place. And even in my case, when my son signed for the Celtic, I have people across the street when I'm coming down the street just because that my boy played with the Celtic. It was absolutely crazy.
When I took the job, when I was offered the job, I'd said that that mustn't be a problem. It would have been hypocritical of me. I was married to a Catholic. My children have been christened a Catholic. It's no big deal for me. The only thing that was of interest to me was to try and get the best players to this football club.
He signed Maurice Johnson because, well, basically it was a good piece of business. Maurice Johnson is a top-class striker, and they stole him from Celtic.
We had heard there was a problem with Maurice going to Celtic, and I approached the agent and I asked if he'd be at all interested in coming to Rangers, and it went on from there. There was no mischief on my behalf. We saw the opportunity to buy an outstanding centre forward, a Scottish player. And there's not many of them about that are of his quality. And we went for it. It wasn't to be smart or to be mischievous. It was for one reason only, and that was because he was such a good footballer.
I think the signing of Maurice Johnston was a masterstroke in my opinion. I, as a professional, have a tremendous regard for Maurice. I think he's a magnificent player, a great striker, a great finisher. And probably Graham Souness is the only manager in Rangers history that has been big enough to go out and sign a Catholic. And just sweeping 100-odd years of bigotry away with a stroke of the pen, if you like, showed that he wanted Rangers to be big. He wasn't interested in the bigotry side of it. What was more important for Graham Souness was that Rangers were able to compete not only on a domestic level, but on a European level.
Stuart Monroe. Chances on for Johnston.
I came back, I wanted to come back to Scotland, and Rangers gave me that choice.
And why did you choose Rangers, given the surroundings?
Well, I could have signed for Celtic, but the way things were going over there, I looked at it, I says to myself, I don't really think it was happening. Plus, there was a few tangles I had at my other side at Nantes. I spoke to Graham Souness, I gave it a lengthy thought, and I knew it was right for me. The chairman, as I said before, the chairman, the management have all backed me to the hilt, and as the players have, and I still stick by that.
Would it be such a bad thing to admit that money played a big part in it as well?
It did in a certain way, but when you talk, there wasn't much in it between the Celtic deal. I was just really delighted because if you look at the squad here, it's far better than the squad across the road. And I think the choice that I've taken, winning the championship, winning the League Cup, we're at the top of the championship at the moment, I've made the right choice.
How much of a shock was it to the system for yourself and for the family?
I was a bit nervous at first. I was scratching at things for my first goal to come, but when it came against Aberdeen I was delighted. But off the part, there hasn't been a problem for my family or for my mum and dad. They've just got on with it just as the way they'd normally got on with life. They get some stick when I was at Celtic. They get some stick when I'm at Rangers. But at the end of the day, you're always going to get that in this city.
So if we go back to that summer, you'd signed Maurice and you'd signed Trevor Stephen. You were looking at a season ahead. You had already won 2 out of 3 league championships. And clearly you were doing well. Did you find any great problem with motivation looking into that season?
No, I think you'll hear every manager worth his salt saying it. That the minute, in this game, the minute you feel the thing's going well, you've got your problems sorted out, someone comes along and kicks you straight in the teeth.
McDowell grafting away for St Mirren. There's Torferson. He certainly knows how to play. Martin. Torferson. Played that off well. Well, that's a very good ball. And that must be a goal by McDowell. 1-0 for St Mirren. And the goalkeeper is down. He lost that ball. No wonder they're celebrating. Well, the big Icelander was at the base of that. But the goalkeeper was hurt in the challenge. This is how it came about. Wants the ball by Torferson. And then that cross there is Wood going for this.
That typified the point I was trying to make, that we were sitting in the stand for that first league game of the season against St Mirren. We'll hoist the flag up, everything's rosy, you know, I've got cover, I feel I've got cover in every position. And after 22, 23 minutes, I lost the goalkeeper and lost the game. But that's football, and I think every manager has experienced these problems. We just seem to get more than a fair share, but we have to dig in deep, and we have done in the past, and hopefully we'll continue to do so in the future, but it was never a case of pressing panic buttons.
Now Collins. Playing towards Weir. Here's Houghton. Keith Houghton for Hibs. Ginsberg is beaten. 19 minutes of the match gone. There's Paul Kane with a free kick. For Graham Mitchell. Ginsberg's in trouble. Mickey Weir makes it 2. Trevor Stephen with the outswinger. Mitchell waits. There's Butcher! Butcher for Rangers! 5 minutes gone! A dream start for Rangers! Pressure on Ronnie Ginsberg, and the Rangers go. Here's Hewitt with the inswinger. Near post ball. Breaks in off Tchaikovsky!
So how then did you recover at that stage in the season?
Well, we just kept our heads down and worked hard and took the criticism which inevitably follows a Rangers defeat or a Rangers bad run. Just hard work.
Were there any key results that you can remember in that season where it showed there was a turning point?
You know, we won our important games. You know, we beat Celtic out there, and we beat Aberdeen out there, Dundee United, once I think, and I think they took points off us the next game. But we won the important ones. You know, we went to places and got points that were important. But if you win a championship, it's done not with one specific. I think we ended up winning the championship by 7 points. You know, it wasn't done with one result. For sure, there was more important games than others. But at the end of the day, it's 2 points, and it's a long, hard season. I know it sounds old hat, but that's the way I see it. You know, it's a marathon, a championship.
That's missed it. It's gone through to Stephen. Here's Morris Johnson, the great chance. Johnston for Rangers. There's Wilkins. McCall. Post ball looking for Walters. Blocked there by Billy Thompson. Johnson's in among it. It's scrambled over the line. Has it gone? Yes. The goal has been given. Oh, what a scene inside the United goalmouth. Linking with McInally. It's a good move from United. Here's Krivojevic. That appeared to be handball. It came off Stuart Monroe's arm. Yes. The penalty kick has been given. The task has been entrusted to Michael O'Neill. Northern Ireland International facing Chris Woods. One each. Only just from Michael O'Neill. Stevens left it high forward to find the head of Neri, but this is Walters. Go to McCoist. Sheer brilliance from McCoist. Rangers take the lead.
Here's Johnston. Stevens. Johnston. And he scored! A typical Wilkins. That's meant for Johnston, and he's done it. Oh, what a superb goal. That was a magnificent pass from Wilkins, it really was. That's the expected cross. Butcher is up, and he's good. Now, here's Johnson with a chance. Here's McCoy's. He must score. He's done it.
Were you aware as the season went on that this was going to be the 40th league title for Rangers, a world record?
No, only when we got very close to it. That's great for this football club. You know, great that we hold this world record. But what's important for our supporters, the ones who turn up now to watch us, and for us to do first and foremost ourselves justice, the players do themselves justice, they do their families justice, and do this club justice. And I'm sure our supporters are more interested in the present day stuff, although it is a record to be proud of.
Goff is up. Brown, a snare. Butcher. Johnson beautifully inside. Here's McCoy's. Tries a chip, he's done it! What a brilliant goal! And that breaks the Premier Division record. Ali McCoy's breaking a second-half deadlock in the most majestic way. Look at that brilliant play by Johnson. McCoy touches it round there, and then look at that deft touch. His 128th Premier Division goal, breaking Frank Mugabe's record. Good tackling by Richard Goff. Now Spackman. Here's John Brown. John Brown, oh, great goal! Here's Spackman. It's a better ball. Johnston. Here's McCoy. Spackman, he scored! That's a beautiful goal by Rangers.
Gary Stevens. There's Stuart Monroe. Brown has gone forward. That's a good cross. Up with Johnston. Corner not too decisive with the clearance. Here's Walters. Testing and teasing there, but in defence. 1-0 to Rangers. Here's Johnston. It's back with Vinicum. Helped on by Johnston with a chance for McCoy. That settles it.
Good ball by Nisbet, and Stevens through, and there it is. Rangers go ahead.
By now they'd reached the top, and this was the game which would break the back of the season. It was against their oldest and most bitter rivals, Celtic. Ibrox was packed to capacity, a crowd full of expectations for one of the great club games in the world. An occasion which inspires unrivaled passion.
Galloway with a throw. Jekanovski, who's so comfortable on the ball. McStay might try one here, and it was a useful effort too. Mark Walters. Oh, it came off Elliott. Johnston tries to curl it. Spackman. Galloway's tackle, and Galloway's shot. Well, it was something of a creeper in the end, but it very nearly crept in. And there's plenty of jockeying for position going on in the centre. Goff looking to get in first. Oh, and he did! And it was a very good chance. Johnston. Flipped in by Butcher. That's Richard Goff trying to meet it. Oh, it's a handball! Anton Rogan. A clear penalty. Of paramount importance for Rangers, this. And Bonner got to it but couldn't keep it out. Mark Walters, 1-0. McCoist. And again, Ferguson going a-hunting, and Goff once more. Oh, and Johnston picked out by McCoist. 2-0. Splendid goal. And Rangers on their way to wrapping it up in the first half. Butcher. Oh, and McCoist is onside. Ali McCoist for Rangers. Dovcik is hurt and was actually playing players onside. This is Walters. Johnston, McCoist, has he given another penalty? I think he has. Penalty number 2 for Rangers. And Ali McCoist given the chance to break the post-war record of league goals, jointly held at the moment with Derek Johnston, who's here at the ground today. Here goes McCoist. He's done it! 3-0! And he's had to wait a long time. And there's no better occasion on which to set a personal landmark than an old firm clash.
Rangers go to Tannadice looking for a point against Dundee United to clinch the championship. By now it was accepted the title would go to Ibrox. The only question was when. The Rangers legions were confident this would be the day.
Grange does very well on that. Easily taken by Woods again. It was a dangerous ball by Woods. Oh, great save and a great effort by McAnally. Preston. Nicely back. Oh, the great save! Marvellous effort by McKinlay. Go with it. Trevor Stevens, a great goal! Oh, that was a superb goal by the man who I think has been the outstanding player afield, and watch the way he clinically finished that off. And there it goes. Rangers are the champions.
satisfying to win there, because it's never an easy place to go and get a result. And of course, the fact that we won the league there, and people say it's far better to win the league at home. I'll settle for winning the league anywhere, anytime.
Was it work rate that turned that championship round, or was it inspiration?
I think it's both, David. I don't think you can win the championship just with sheer hard work, the same as you certainly will not win a championship with just inspirational players. It has to be a blend, it has to be a mix. And I felt last year we got a nice blend of that. You know, we had like Spackman come in and work his tail off. You know, Mark Walters doing the magic on the wing, Morris and Alistair putting the goals away on a regular basis. And of course the easy part to forget is your goalkeeper. Last year we break the Premier League goals against record, and the goalkeeper and the defence must take great credit for that. You know, Gary Stevens, Richard Gough, Stuart Monroe was outstanding last year. People look at Gary Stevens and say, you know, maybe his use of the ball should be better, but for me, I don't think there's a better defender playing anywhere in Britain today.
Walters taking on Milne.
The most influential Englishman at Ibrox is Trevor Steven. It took some time for his immense talent to be fully recognised by the Rangers' support, but the manager had no doubts.
I'd never tell another manager how to do his job. I can't for the life of him understand how he's not in the England team. He's a player who possesses a great deal of ability, you know, he's got great flair, but that's not his strongest asset. His biggest asset is that he's willing to work and work all day for the team. And he's a modern footballer, great attitude to the game, not a problem at all, pleasure to work with. And you're right in saying that our supporters were slow to warm to him, and I can't understand that, because I think he's a player that, if you know anything about football, there's something in Trevor Steven's game that catches the eye. Like I said, whether it's a work rate or whether it's the fact that he can take people on, play good balls in, long or short, there's something about his game that I think would appeal to most people.
I have no doubt that Trevor Steven was a bit anxious about coming to Scotland. I know Trevor very well, obviously, for our Everton days together. I also know his qualities, which were quite breathtaking there. But I do think he has improved as a player. I think he's grown up. I think playing in Scotland has helped him. It's helped him in respect that Scottish football is very much a quicker game, but his skills have still been able to be displayed in this quick-paced game. But yes, Graham Souness will be in there batting with the best for the best players, and his signing of Trevor Steven was wonderful.
On the last day of the season then, it's against Dunfermline, it's a happy day of celebration, and you decided to play. Why did you do that?
Well, I'd announced that my last game the year before was going to be in the cup final. I said, you know, that was definitely going to be it. And that turned out to be a day I wouldn't want to remember, and I didn't want to go with a bad taste. And fortunately, as I said, we'd won the league by then, and we'd won it well. And I took advantage of the situation, if you like, and played, and I had my son here, and he enjoyed the day, and I enjoyed the day, and I think my dad did as well.
Walters did that very well. Then, it's a butcher. Great goal line clearance. And there's Johnson, can't quite get in. Here's McCoy's. Really should have buried it. Look at the pace of Walters. Tremendous run, and there's McCoy's. Said yes, he's done it. By the law of averages, the number of chances he's had, he gets to the end of that quite superb run by Mark Walters. 1-0. Trevor Steven had come back as he normally does, and away he goes. He's had a great end to the season, that's well weighted. The goalkeeper is after it. Johnston! He was well covered. Nice move indeed by Rangers, good football, crowd lapping it up. Now Walters. Oh, that's really fluent. And Graham Souness is about to come on to play his last competitive senior game of football after a career stretching back to 1970 when he signed as a teenager for Tottenham Hotspur. Walters Souness, and I wonder what's going through his mind now. Seconds away from his last game. That's a very good ball indeed. Trevor Stephen. Will Johnson is on the inside. There he is. On towards David Dodds. Oh yes, a very good goal indeed to wrap it up, seal the day, and put Rangers, the supporters, the manager on the field in right fettle for the champagne.
Celebrations afterwards, you with your son. On a personal level, did that sort of bring home to you some of the things you've sacrificed for success in football?
You know, I believe that no matter what business you're in, there's sacrifices to be made. I wouldn't say sacrifices, my problems in my personal life involving this club have been well documented. It's not something I want to go into, but I believe in life, David, if you're going to succeed at something, there has to be sacrifices all along the line. I sacrificed a great deal when I was a player, in social terms, if you like. But they've all been worth it. That's a very sad chapter in my life, but it's not one I wish to discuss publicly.
Are you a workaholic?
I would think people who are close to me would say that about me. I don't see it that way, though. I'm very fortunate. I've got the job I've got. I think 99% of managers in Britain today would want to swap with me. I manage what I regard and what other people regard as the biggest club in Great Britain. Hopefully one day we can make it the best footballing club in Great Britain one day.
What about this man, Graham Souness? What's he meant to you?
Well, he's actually meant a lot to me because it was him that brought me here. He brought the sectarianism here. I'd played with him in the Scotland games for about 7 or 8 years, and even in my book I wrote about him, and I says he was the governor of the initial, the 80s. As far as I'm concerned, he still is. I think he'll go on here to become one of the greatest managers ever.
What's he like to work for?
Well, he's hard. He's very hard, as a few players will tell you. I've actually came across him maybe once or twice, and it's been very, very hard. But at the end of the day, we're here to do a job. He's there to manage us, and we've got to toe the line.
Let's just say I've seen cartons of orange and teapots and cups fly across the Ibrox dressing room in my short time there. There wasn't many defeats, but I can assure you that when defeat comes, it hurts badly. And I think that's another strength. People who say you should be as good in defeat as you are in victory, well, I don't hold with that, I'm sorry. I was a dreadful loser myself, and having seen Graham Souness for 9 months coming into that dressing room after they've been beat, I know he's a bad loser as well, and that can only be good for Rangers.
This corner, lofting it in. The header from Mason! Aberdeen are ahead!
This was one occasion when Rangers had to cope with losing.
McCoy's backing into Willie Miller. The referee has given a penalty kick. Well, that is quite remarkable. The referee insisting that all players stay out of the box. Here goes Walters against Nervous. Rangers are back on level terms.
Despite that goal, the 1989 Skol Cup was to be one of 2 trophies Rangers couldn't get their hands on.
There's Nicholas. It's back to Mason.
That was our 4th consecutive final, and I mean, to get to a final, it's great. If you get to a final, you want to be the winner at the end of the day. On that day, I'd felt the year before that when we beat Aberdeen, we carried the luck on that day. In that game you're talking about, we didn't carry the luck, and they got the trophy that time. But there was no disgrace in losing that final. It was another good advert for Scottish football. On the day we missed out, but no real complaints. I mean, we'd got to the final. We'd done ourselves justice and just didn't carry that wee bit of luck on the day. That's how I see it.
Of course, the Scottish Cup is the one that you haven't been able to get your name on yet in your time here. Is that something that worries you at all?
It doesn't worry me. I've always said the league is the priority. The Scottish Cup, same as the English Cup when I played in England. I don't use the word jinx. It was something I never had luck in. I believe to win a cup competition you have to carry a wee bit of luck, and in some cases a lot of luck. And in that particular competition, since I've been managing this club, we haven't had too much luck in it.
Well, in that particular competition earlier this year, it was Celtic who put you out. When you were drawn against Celtic, were you apprehensive about that game?
No, I'm confident about the Celtic games because I know my players will be up for that. And I believe if my players perform, then we're capable of beating anybody in Scotland.
So what went wrong that day at Parkhead?
Again, I think the element of luck involved. You know, it was a scrappy goal which might have been offside. But that's the way football goes in the cup competitions. You know, you get one bite of the cherry and there's no way back. And on that particular day, they carried a bit of luck, and we didn't. But as I say, that's football.
Here's McCoist. Eased off the ball by Paul Elliott. Wallace Johnston cut off the pass back. Here's McCoist for Johnston, but he's offside, it won't count. Here's Peter Grant. Coyne sets off on a run. Woods is committed. Well, Chris Woods did well. Here's McCoist trying to force his way beyond White. Chris Morris gets it just ahead of Johnston. The danger's not over. Elliott does well. Stevens reacts to the signal there from Johnston. Trevor Stephen. And that... So the first half drawing to a close with Celtic on the attack again. Here's Tommy Coyne. Sideways to Jakinovski. Here's Joe Miller. There's a great chance for Celtic. 1-0 to Celtic. Tommy Coyne and Joe Miller both claim the goal. Tommy Coyne set it up. Look at the pass here from Jakinovski. Brilliantly wide there to Joe Miller. He has the shot. It gets away from Chris Woods. And it's Tommy Coyne who claims the goal. Here's McStay. Jakinovski. He has Galloway free on the left. Rangers a lot of players forward. There goes Galloway. Good save by Woods. Grant touching it on. There's Miller. Now McStay. Jakinovski calls for the ball on the left. Grant gets it on the right. That's for Walker and Jakinovski coming in. A magnificent save by Woods. Well, perhaps the best flowing attack of the match. But there goes the final whistle. Celtic have won. Rangers are out of the Scottish Cup.
So Celtic go on after beating you 1-0, go on to the final and they played Aberdeen. When it went to penalties, is that something that you have any strong views about when you were watching that game?
No, I think, unlike a lot of people, it's not a status. A lot of people criticise the World Cup as well, games being decided on penalties. But, you know, it's sudden death, it's excitement, it's entertainment of a type. I don't think it's a perfect answer, but I certainly can't come up with a better way of deciding the game other than a replay.
And now the task of Celtic is entrusted to Anton Rogan. The old man praying there, the Celtic supporter. The Aberdeen fans trying to make life difficult for Anton Rogan. And it's a magnificent save from Theosfelders. It might win the cup for Aberdeen. Brian Irvine has the task of winning the cup for Aberdeen. Aberdeen have won. It's Brian Irvine who wins the cup in the end for Aberdeen.
So the Dons win their second trophy. But it was Rangers who had the satisfaction of raising the championship flag on the opening day of the new season. Inevitably, Rangers had introduced more new faces in the closed season, and one of them made his mark early.
Hately through the middle. Brown pushing up on the left to take the pass from Spackman. That's towards Hately. The opener for Rangers. Just 10 minutes on the clock. And any lingering doubts among the Rangers fans about Mark Hateley quickly dispelled. Slid in by Cosma. Helped on there by Butcher as far as Paul Smith. Ricochet there, it's turned in by McCall. And Dunfermline are back on level terms. Walters wants to take on Wilson. Great cross for Johnston! The goal which has been threatened throughout the second half is delivered by Maurice Johnston. Walters again trying to test Tom Wilson, this time going inside, brought down from the rear, and that is a penalty kick. So it's Walters against Rhodes. 3-1 to Rangers. That should clinch it.
A good start to the season then, but the manager of Glasgow Rangers can never afford to relax. Souness continued to work hard on the training pitch, where he was aware of a major problem looming. Captain Terry Butcher had come back from the World Cup with an injury and was clearly short of peak fitness. He trained hard, but still found himself well off the Premier League pace when it came to matches. This was to be his last game for Rangers, and it was marked in the most embarrassing fashion. Rangers lost 2-1 to Dundee United, and Butcher was sensationally dropped for the Skull Cup semi-final.
Terry was not performing as well as he was capable of. He had fitness problems. And I think it was a relief to Terry to actually leave him out at that stage. And we went about our business again. I can't think of any other words to use, but in a professional manner. And on the night we were the better team, we deserved to win. We played very well. In the first 10 minutes we started slowly, and after that we played very well in the first half. We got our goal, and in the second half we were just solid. And there wasn't much between the teams in the second half. It wasn't a great game in the second half. Unlike the previous games we've had with Aberdeen at Hampden, where they've all been classics. And we deserved to win that night. It was a good game.
Stephen. Oh, it's a mistake by Irvine. Stephen. Johnston still got the ball, but not quite in such a dangerous position as it might have been to Aberdeen. They'll challenge with the goalkeeper here, but Theo Snelders is a very good all-round technician. Going inside Munro. Mason making an intelligent break. Ian Jess in the middle. This is Grant. Oh, and coming in at the back post was Robert Connor. Aberdeen really didn't gamble and overcommit their resources to getting into the Rangers penalty area to try and round it off just in case Rangers broke as they're trying to do now. Munro, so from one left back to the other. That's a terrific ball from McCoy. Sure, we're in for a treat. Here's Johnston for Hurlock. Stephen! It was a rasper. Johnston going to the far post. McCoy, Stephen will shoot, and not conclusively. I know there was a feeling in England that Trevor Stephen was a little lightweight to play in the centre of midfield, but Andy, I've always liked to see him play in there.
Yes, and he's always felt that eventually that would be his best position. I know a lot of people down south watching tonight, many Everton supporters will find it strange to see him in that position. But I know even from Everton days there that he did feel that that was his best position. He eventually wanted to find himself in there. And I think to be playing in Scotland at the pace the game's played it in there shows that he can do it.
I suppose as far as playing for England, though, his best chance is still to play wide on the right. But look at it through the middle here. Trevor Stephen! It's a fabulous goal! And that gives him all the evidence he needs to say, play me there. That's what I can do for you.
Isn't it nice? Isn't it nice? I don't think Aberdeen will say, but isn't it nice when you say that somebody has proved that he can play there? Within 30 seconds he shows us exactly what he's capable of. I mean, first of all, what he does show us is grit and determination in this position here, Martin. You wonder what's going to happen. He's crowded out, it looks like, but he shows all the strength and determination to fight his way through. And at a time when he needs cool head and cool finishing, that's what he produces.
Stephen picking another pass shrewdly. backman. Hardly need to have to tell you who played that pass to Gary Stevens. McCoy! Well, he had to take that quickly, and Snelders actually thought that it was going further to the goalkeeper's left. In the end, it went straight at Snelders as he committed himself. Mason, that's a fine ball. Jess is in the middle as Bet looks for him. Ian Jess coming in, just forced him wide. Grant. Van der Ven is there as well. Here he is, and Woods finally saw a shot coming towards his goal, which he was able to deal with. Stephen. Free, waiting for the cross. Walters is one of them. Oh, and it nearly wriggled in. And Brown. Oh, and Woods has lost it. Goodness me. It's a goal kick, but it so nearly was a goal. Well, a night of real talking points, starting with the Rangers team selection. But when we got onto the pitch, a goal to savour has won the second Skoll Cup semi-final for Rangers by Trevor Stevens. It came after half an hour. Sweet satisfaction for Rangers. Revenge over Aberdeen, who grabbed the Skoll Cup from them 11 months ago.
So a place in the final for Rangers, but the end of an era at Ibrox. The following day, Butcher left the stadium, playing down any disagreement with the manager. But it was clear that being dropped had dented the pride of a man who'd been Rangers captain courageous for 4 years.
I think obviously Terry Butcher was an immense signing for him. You need, obviously when he was initially signing the players from England, he wanted someone to build his team around, to be the focal point, the hub of it, and I think Terry Butcher fitted that pattern brilliantly. I think Terry grew with the club. He wanted to be there. He was Rangers through and through when he was here for 4 years, and he was a very important signing.
But a serious rift had developed between Butcher and the club, and Rangers took the unprecedented step of calling a press conference to give their side of the story. Details of private conversations were divulged, and after that, it was clear Terry Butcher was on his way.
It was the saddest chapter in my time as Rangers manager to date.
You feel that the special relationship that Terry Butcher had built
We had
up
4
here.
great years together, and for some strange reason that I have not yet found out, he chose to change that.
Do you still have any contact with him? Have you?
I wish him all the very best in his new job, and you know, Terry will soon appreciate that this job is a lot harder than just playing. But I wish him all the best because we had 4 great years together.
And he's already discovering some of these hard decisions he has to make.
That'll be hard for him, but you know, Terry showed a lot of character here as a player, and if he shows half of that character in management, then he's got a real chance.
While one character was departing the scene, a new one who'd arrived with a tough reputation was already emerging as a special favourite. Terry Hurlock joined Rangers from Millwall, and at the age of 32, this unassuming Cockney had suddenly hit the big time.
Well, he's only been here sort of 5 months. As he said, he's been very influential in his short time here. If Terry continues to play in the manner in which he has done in the last 4 or 5 months, then I'll be delighted. He is a very good footballer. People look at Terry Hurlock, the ones who know nothing about the game, and say, look at him, you know, he kicks people. He doesn't kick people, he does anything but kick people. He challenges fairer than 90% of the midfield players playing in the Premier League today. He's strong, he's aggressive, his strength wins him a lot of the balls. And apart from that side of his game, he is a good footballer. He can pass the ball. He can pass at the right time, hold on to it at the right time. He's an experienced player. And as I said, I'll be delighted if we get another couple of years of the quality that Terry's showing right now.
Rangers fans may have been pleasantly surprised by Hurlock, but they knew exactly what kind of quality to expect from the new star, Oleg Kuznetsov. He'd played twice at Ibrox for Dynamo Kiev, and at £1.2 million, he seemed to be a bargain. But in only his second game for Rangers, he went down with a knee injury, which has put him out of the game for several months, prompting a controversial outburst from Souness.
You made a remark some weeks ago about there being too many hammer throwers in Scottish football. The phraseology, do you regret that for a start? Are you aware of the fact that all over Scotland people...
I've upset hammer throwers.
So you still insist that there is such a thing in Scottish football and who deserve to be described in that way?
Well, again, before going further, people turn around and say it's very easy for me to come out and say that because I'm the manager of Glasgow Rangers who can go out and buy players. I'd argue that point. It's never been my philosophy. It wasn't the way I played football. It's never been my philosophy to fill a team with people who just go out and stop other people playing. And I think some people are guilty of that.
Are you aware of the fact that a lot of people in Scotland who perhaps don't sympathise with you or with Rangers?
Listen, no matter if there's certain things I would say, this carpet's blue, and there'll be people out there that would argue the point. Anything to do with Rangers, in some people's eyes, is wrong. So that's something we just have to get on with.
Yes, but people say Graham Souness, a man, is a player who wasn't afraid to put it about a bit, and he's talking about hammer throwers and all that. Does that hurt you, that kind of criticism?
No, it didn't hurt me as a player. It certainly doesn't now. It's the people who are criticising, David.
Well, obviously, one player who is nowhere near being a hammer thrower is Oleg Kuznetsov. This is a truly world-class player, and you got him. Do you think it was a bargain?
He's played 95 minutes for us. I felt when we signed him that he was a truly outstanding performer. I said privately I felt he was the best player in the world in his position. I think in the 90 minutes that he played out there, people would, on that performance anyway, okay, the one game, people would maybe agree with me on that. I'd seen him playing half a dozen times, played against them, and the performance he gave against St Mirren that day was the performances he had turned in the games I'd gone to see him play. Tragic for him, tragic for his football club. The Scottish public, in the short term anyway, have been denied seeing a truly world-class performer playing on a regular basis in Scotland, which that can't be said, or hasn't been said for a long, long time about players playing in the Premier League.
You know, people over the last couple of months, there's this thing about hammer throwers in Scotland, and I can remember a couple of months ago reading this, and someone was saying, well, how can Graham Souness talk about being a hammer thrower when he was one himself, which I found quite an amazing statement to be in the press. Graham Souness had as much ability as any player that was playing in the English First Division. If you were to ask any Liverpool player who played with him, his influence would have been, I would say, almost on a par with Kenny Dalglish's. Now, for someone to have that much influence on his side, he must have been able to play. I mean, I've been in close contact with Graham many times in games we played against each other. He was a quality player. He was very hard. I mean, don't let me think that I'm kidding you on here about he couldn't look after himself. Graham Souness could look after himself, but he wanted to win. His biggest single asset, I believe, is that he's a winner. He doesn't like losing. Kenny Dalglish once said, show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser. And I think Graham Souness holds that belief as well. He wants to win. He hates getting beat, and if you've got those attributes, and you can play a bit as well, then you wouldn't have been a bad player.
Monsoon conditions greeted fans arriving at Hampden for this season's Skull Cup final. But it would take more than rain to dampen the enthusiasm of 63,000 who turned up to see Celtic and Rangers battle it out for the first trophy of the season.
Celtic attack the goal to the left. And here's McCoist for Rangers. Jim McCluskey is sure to keep an eye on the early challenges. Peter Grant, who is Celtic through and through. But it's good to see the players smiling, even if maybe there's a touch of irony about that directed at the referee. McCoist going down. Already Rangers have sent Richard Gough forward, and of course in Mark Hateley they do have an exceptional player in the air to compensate for the absence of Johnston. John Brown is in there as well, and it's over them all. Andy Gray, I'm sure they're glad to be out there and running now after all the talk of the past few days.
Yes, there's nothing quite like that first whistle blowing in a cup final. All the talking's over. Now it's all down to who wants it most, who really wants to actually win this cup final.
And Woods has to save as suddenly it opened up for Craney.
Yes, it opened up quite alarmingly, but it was a super little ball from Jakinowski. And this is why Chris Woods is England #1 at the moment. That really was a super save.
Craney got into that channel, and Jakinowski, who must be a difficult opponent, he's not a predictable player by any means. And it was a flick full of perception. Craney, who scored at that very end in the semi-final here against Dundee United, was in and threatening Rangers here. Rogan. Walters trying to be too tricky. Gary Stevens hurling himself in. Commitment must be total. It seems an obvious thing to say, but sometimes week in, week out, league games, matches start off that way and they drift, and the pattern is taken in different directions. But with this game you can be sure that nothing will slacken. Goff let it get away from him. Craney did well. Jakinowski against Brown. Past Brown, but not past Woods. Twice he's had to go to his left to keep Celtic out.
And once again, the combination of Jakinowski and Craney causing Rangers tremendous problems. And it is a great effort. And in conditions like this is a great save to hold on to that ball. The ball obviously very slippery. And had he lost it, then Joe Miller was pouncing.
Room here for McCoist, a lot of room. And on he goes. Walters is in at the near post. It's a corner. Well, this is no tight, tense affair. Ali McCoist, who Celtic hadn't tracked down at all. Walters had a tight angle, but Bonner had to cover it. Stephen to take the corner. Hateley waiting on the edge of the area. Brown right in by the goalkeeper, who didn't get there. In goes Hateley. 31 times Mark Hateley played for England. Fulton. And again. Jakinowski's onside. An early one, perhaps aimed for Craney. Not the most likeliest to win it in the air. Stephen. Just to remind you, the destiny of the 1990 Scott Cup must be decided today. An extra time and a penalty shootout thrown into the mix if necessary. Grant. Stay does make the game look disarmingly simple at times. So too does Trevor Stephen from Rangers. Touch from Hateley. The through ball from Hurlock. Bonner's come. McCoist. Oh, and the referee rules that that's a dive. And it's a throw. And McCoist is furious.
Yes, you see he's saying unbelievable to the referee, and I must admit, I thought that when seeing it right off, I thought it was a penalty. He definitely takes Ali McCoist's legs, and I think Pat Bonner and Celtic in particular are very lucky to get away with that.
And it's Celtic with Fulton. And Fulton improvised well. Jakinowski, and again. Craney. Options right and left, and they're still there. He's not short of confidence, which is a great commodity for a player who's spent such a short time at the highest level. Oh, and a slip here by Dovcik. And it's Mark Hateley for Rangers, but Paul Elliott for Celtic.
In the first instance, just before that, Mark Hateley is about 2 or 3 yards offside, and the linesman just didn't look. But really, I can only put, it's a great tackle from Paul Elliott, but why he wanted to get it onto his left foot, I can't understand. He must surely have hit it with his right foot, Mark Hateley.
Stephen. And Bonner was certainly not in command. And something of a post-mortem going on there. And it was Goff who was coming in where he can be deadly in the opposing penalty area. The point Andy Gray made earlier, the Rangers have a number of players who love to attack the ball in the air. It might be their route to victory. John Brown is one of those. It will be a source of concern for Celtic in defence. Miller. Grant. Here's Collins. First season with Celtic. Rogan. Oh, Jakanowski could come up with something special here. Look at this, look at this! In the end, the deflection was cruel for Jackie Jakanowski, but fine for Rangers.
And this is Jackie Jakanowski at his very best, at the edge of the box, right wing and writhing, gets himself a yard of space, and that's one of those where Christmas must have thought, oh no, it's in the net.
With Fulton and Craney showing well, whatever happens here, it's a bright horizon for Celtic in that respect. Spackman pursued by McStay. And that was Goff having to hurry back, claims a goal kick, but it's a corner. And Chris Wood's angry that it's a bit lax in front of him. Celtic were swarming on the edge of the area then. Collins to take the corner. Oh, and it's sent in by Elliott! Celtic have scored! Paul Elliott reacted. And how the Celtic supporters are reacting to that.
Well, initially Joe Miller does excellently here. Instead of just lobbing it aimlessly in, Dovcik comes in. Look how low that is. Paul Elliott doesn't trust his left foot. He thinks I'm better with my head than I am with my foot. And look how low he stoops. Tucks it comfortably in the corner. That's a fine header.
McCoist. Hateley waiting at the far post if Walters can get a cross in. Walters had other ideas. This is Stevens! Well, given some of the difficulties that Bonner's had in this game, that was a very nonchalant save.
Yes, he made it look very, very easy. He's had some trouble keeping hold of this ball, and at a time when he really needed it. It was like plucking apples off a tree, wasn't it?
McCoist, Walters, 1-1. Absolutely no chance for Bonner.
Well, we've certainly got a game now, haven't we? It's a good little move, and for once, Mark Haley gets down, finds Ellie McCoy, and Mark Walters punishes them badly for some slack marking and buries it right in the corner. Really gives Pat Bonner no chance at all.
McCoy did very well to control the knockdown, and Walters coming onto it, found the ball absolutely ideally placed. McCoy. Stephen, Walters, 4 in the middle for Rangers. It's Morris who headed it away, and John Hewitt had to help out. The attack just lost its momentum after Walters had sparked it off so speedily on the far side. Still a Rangers corner as they want to pick up the scent for victory. Hakely! Well, Bonner could have been beaten by any sort of second touch. And Jekanovski is away. No time to ponder on that for the moment. He's short of support. It's arrived now in the shape of Chris Morris. And here's Collins lining one up. Elliott. Look at him go. Jekanovski. And again, oh, is it for Hewitt?
So the score was 1-1 at the end of 90 minutes, and the game was set for extra time. A few brief moments for the players to gather their thoughts and their energy for the demands of the extra period, and a chance for the managers to lift their teams for another big effort.
Morris. Jekanovski, even for a player of his fine touch, it was a dastardly ball to try and control, really. Walters, though, has the mastery here. McCoy's to the right. Hakely's well forward, as you would expect as well. Spackman, Celtic was still trying to get back, and grateful that Rangers worked the ball closer to them. And here's Rogan. And Jekanovski. What a wonderful save by Woods.
This has been Celtic's best tactic all day, and they've done it again. They soaked up the Rangers attack, broke very quickly, and what a save from Chris Woods. Goalkeepers who stand up like that always give themselves a chance. He stood up late, didn't give Jekanovski the upper hand. He's made a great save and kept Rangers in the game.
Jekanovski, I suppose, will regard it as a miss, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He was trying, as strikers like to do, to just get it low and close, because that's where goalkeepers find it hard to get to the quickest. Celtic scuttling back, an early cross from Stevens. Hakely got to it, and Bonner slipping and crawling and almost crumbling. Walters to rein it in, and it looked awkward for him, but the back heel didn't come off. Rogan offside. You start looking around as to who could be the headline maker. Trainee for one, of course, who's kept up his appetite for the fray, and throughout the game has adorned it really with some clever contributions, denying his inexperience. Oh, and is it in? It is! It's Richard Gough, who came round the back, and will feel here that he could have won it for Rangers. Bonner is furious with the defenders. It's an untidy goal in many ways, but it doesn't matter in a cup final.
There's no such thing as an untidy goal, and at the time I just felt Rangers looked more likely. Everyone's paying attention to the two big boys again, and Chris Morris gets caught. I'm sure he was anxious about being too close to his goalkeeper and knocking it back, but full credit to Richard Gough. He's very, very determined. He doesn't look at the players and just makes straight for the ball, and it's that crucial toe to it. Knocks it past Pat Connor. Now Celtic have got all the questions to answer.
Come on, he says. And he set the example. Elliott. Rogan. Hope rising for Celtic and Woods rising for Rangers. It was an inventive effort from Craney.
Yes, and it's a sign that he's always looking for the unexpected. He's always looking to try something different. When you think he's going to knock it back or cross it across goal, he tries for the far corner and he isn't far away.
Walters. Oh, he was being held back. Quite clearly being held back then. Actually wasn't in possession of the ball. That's possibly why Celtic got the benefit of the doubt. Guided down well by Craney. Here he is. Tchaikovsky, it's deflected, and it's another despairing look. Run back by Ferguson, who's been very busy indeed since he came on. Sometimes they say as a substitute it's difficult to fit in, and it surely can't have been easy as Ferguson has made it look. The Rangers have won. Richard Gough has done it, and the pain of the past few days is forgotten. And they've come from behind to do it.
While Graham Souness builds his football team, Chairman David Murray is masterminding the reconstruction of the main stand at Ibrox. When it's complete, it'll provide the last word in luxury for football fans. This structure alone will hold 24,000 people and will almost certainly have a use for major events outside of football. Expensive reconstruction on and off the park all costs money, and the fans who go to Ibrox are encouraged to take up deals which make their day out more enjoyable and at the same time make Rangers financially strong. Thousands of ordinary supporters have joined the Premier Club, which gives them access to an American-style concourse featuring everything you'd expect from the best fast food outlets. The only difference is that every product carries the Rangers crest. All this was created by Rangers commercial manager Bob Riley, welcomed here by ex-player Eric Caldo as he pays a pre-match visit to an area featuring hospitality on an altogether different level. Of the many corporate entertainment areas at Ibrox, this is the best. A world of champagne and gourmet food in which business is mixed with pleasure. Hundreds enjoy this 5-star football package every week, and there's no chance of anyone forgetting which team they're watching.
This is the top level of corporate entertainment we have at Ibrox. 36 executive boxes, opened about a year ago. all sold. As you can see, there are brass plates above each company's box. Each box holds 8. It costs £25,000 plus VAT per season. It's totally inclusive. By that I mean there's nothing extra. That money allows them to have a champagne reception on arrival, which they're having at the moment in their box. They then have a 5-course lunch with red wine and white wine, coffee and liqueurs. Normal half-time fare at football matches, including the pies, and at full-time a free bar to 6 o'clock. This part, as you can see, the boxes have sliding doors. This is to allow us to have a normal restaurant on non-match days. And we're delighted to say that the restaurant is continually full. An interesting little fact is that in close season, football grounds tend to be sort of barren places. So we decided to keep the restaurant open last close season, and the revenue from that was £100,000. So that's nice money.
We can hear the champagne corks popping in the background. How much champagne do we go through in here?
We go through quite a lot. That's on an average, there's 36 boxes. I would think there's probably about four bottles of champagne in each box, which is 160 bottles of champagne. I think there's 12 in a case or something.
Is it Rangers champagne?
All Rangers champagne. Only Rangers champagne.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the stadium, more guests arrive in the Thornton Suite, named after one of the Rangers' greats, Willie Thornton, who hosts a table. Another famous Ranger, John Gregg, has a new role as head of PR.
Could you please welcome, all the way from Bermuda to see today's game, Mr. Bill Story.
I do feel Graham Souness has geared this club in particular for Europe. He's geared the club to say, if a European league comes around, and I'm sure that Graham Souness is convinced it's going to be sooner rather than later, I would say, sticking my neck out, by 1995 I'd be very, very amazed if there wasn't a European league in operation. And I think this club, he's saying, we're ready for it if the rest of Europe's ready for it.
Obviously we'd like to do better in Europe. I feel in the past, through circumstances, suspensions and injuries, and us not playing well on a night, we've not done ourselves justice in Europe. I'd want to do better in that field, obviously. But actually winning the European Cup is an enormous task for anyone to undertake. But we will try, and we'll try our hardest, and with a wee bit of luck, who knows one day. But it's not the be-all and the end-all. I want to, there's only one team can win the European Cup every year. There's only one team won it in the last 2 years. And I just want to be part of building something here which I've never seen the likes of before in Scotland.
Obviously this European dream is something which involves competing with clubs which you have explained to the press and the media in general here are on a different level altogether.
Yeah, well, we're known as big spenders by British terms, and I suppose we have spent a lot of money. In real terms, we may have spent 7 million. And we've outlaid a lot more than that, but we've got a lot back. And the best example you could possibly give would be Juventus this year, who at the start of the season, the coach or manager, whatever you want to call him, was given, I think it was £45 million to spend. Now I've spent £7 million over 5 years on 2 or 3 different teams. That guy's been given 40 million, 45 million quid to spend on one team for one season. I think he only managed to spend 37 of it.
So that's a measure of the opposition. Do you feel that...
That's what you're up against, but it's not impossible. As I said, I'm an optimist, and every game I play I think I can win. And that comes down to the football in Europe as well. I think if given the right circumstances and given another 2 or 3 quality players at this club, the ones I've got, then we're capable of upsetting the best.
Do you think the system of club competition in Europe will change?
I'd hope so. I think people's tastes are becoming more and more discerning. I think people only want to watch the best now, whether it's on BSB or whether it's live. And the Scottish public are no different, the British public are no different to that. They would want to see the big foreign clubs playing in our country on a regular basis.
In a domestic sense, you have a very high profile. Obviously, if it was part of a European organisation, you would be maybe a smaller fish in a big pond. But here,
you would like that very much.
You would like that?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, I feel that maybe even some of our own supporters are guilty of turning up and thinking because we've spent all this money that we've got a divine right to go out and beat everyone in sight. Well, it's not like that. Life's not like that, and football's certainly not like that.
Having said that, the Rangers manager has had to admit that the season so far has gone very much according to plan.
Good strike against Kidd, cutting away from the fullback. Good play by the Dutchman. And a goal for Rangers! 21 minutes gone here at Tynecastle. Marvellous play by Rangers. Mo Johnston. Oh, great ball through Kelly McCoy. He's onside. McCoy must score. Number 2 for Rangers. He gets the header in. Oh, and a mistake there by Chris Woods, and the ball in the net. And George Wright has scored for Hearts with 5 minutes to go. Oh, I can imagine Rangers manager Graham Souness will be seething at the loss of that goal. But here's a chance for Ali McCoist! And McCoist gets his second goal of the game, and number 3 for Rangers. There's John Collins. Glancing header! Derek White for Celtic! Second half, and Celtic who've been under the cosh for so much of the game go ahead. Beautiful pass there from Walters to Stephen. Great close control. There's Mark Walters with the cross. Up goes Bailey. It's a vital touch. McCoy's trying to win that from Joe Miller. It's back with Goff. Stephen chests it down to Hurlock. Yes! Equaliser for Rangers. Terry Hurlock's first goal for his new club. He did well. Stephen. It's a great cross by Stephen. And Hastely scores. Hastely again doing well in the air. Spackman forcing his way through with a chance to test Andy Gorham. Back it goes to Walters. Barclow's cross. Hastely again. Mark Hastely gets his second, and the Hibs defence had no answer. Stephen and Walters over the ball. Touch on there from Haitley to find McCoist. Walters taking on Milne. Chance for Stephen! 4-0 for Rangers. Sandy Robertson getting his first touch. It's John Brown again looking for the head of Haitley. A chance for Walters! Cooper starts his run, drives it forward. Oh, he scored! Well, the change in conditions now quite dramatic. The rain pouring down. Rangers pouring forward. It's Ali McCoy. Mo Johnston! A magnificent goal! John Brown. Again looking for Haitley. Away by Angus. Only as far as Spackman. Oh, great ball through now to Gary Stevens, he must score! Oh, brilliant goal by Gary Stevens! Davy Cooper quickly closed down by Vinicum. Cooper, the chance! And Motherwell pull one back. Rangers pouring out of the fans. McCoy and Johnson through the middle, so too is Gary Stevens! Gary Stevens!
I think when you pay the amount of money that Graham pays for players, you don't really have to coach them too much, David. I think that's when you're paying over £1 million for a player, you expect them to know the basics of the game, and they do. I think where Graham's problems have lain is in convincing the fans I mean, we all know Scottish football, it's up and at them. Let's get it in the box, get it forward. Graham's tried to adopt a European Liverpool-type game, if you like, where patience plays a big key in it. He's tried to get the fans to be patient. Let's build up from the back. I mean, he wants his players to all be able to pass the ball, to control the ball, to pass it through midfield, not just a big lump up the park. And I think that's been his biggest problem, is telling the fans and convincing them that that was the way forward for Rangers. But the players know it. He tells them every day, encourages them, pass the ball, pass the ball. The training, very similar to Liverpool, I'm sure.
I think everybody relates back to the Liverpool because they're such a good team. And I mean, if you can go anywhere near you know, the playing abilities of them, then you won't be far wrong. I think the main thing in any football team is that, or that the manager tries to get over to us, is that you've got to pass and move and keep doing it. And that's what we try to, you know, put into the game.
On a personal level, that profile that you have has got you into some trouble. Is it something that troubles you, that worries you or hurts you when you're disciplined?
Listen, I'm very fortunate. I've never suffered from jealousy in my life. And I can understand people being jealous or bitter or antagonistic towards me and this club if we're constant in newspapers or we're constant on television. I consciously try not to be on television a great deal. People say, what am I doing this interview for? I certainly try and avoid the newspapers as much as I can on the radio, but it's difficult.
And when you do get into trouble with, say, the SFA or whatever, it's because of things where you...
Got to watch what I'm saying here.
Absolutely, but which is probably one of the reasons that you are so frustrated. But the passion that is part of this game, that everyone wants to be part of it, do you feel that you simply get caught up in that passion and that's sometimes what pushes you over the edge and causes you to be disciplined?
I know about football. For a lifetime in football. I understand football. People who hand out the discipline, and maybe I've not spent a lifetime in football, certainly not at the sharp end. I'm passionate about the game I'm involved in. If that sometimes leads me getting into trouble, then I can't change, because that's the way I'm about the game. I love the game. I love every aspect of the game. And sometimes, if people think I've fallen foul of the rules or their interpretation of the rules, then I'll have to just go along with that.
Do you like being a winner?
It's not a case of, there's only one thing to be in life, David, and I think I've got a lot of winners down in the dressing room down there. They know how I feel about that, and I like to think a wee bit of me has rubbed off on them, and certainly with a few of them in that dressing room, some of their attitude to certain things has rubbed off on me.
Heavy drizzle still falling here at Celtic Park, as Rangers enjoy in the early stages the bulk of the possession. Here's a good move from Haitley, and calmly intercepted by the Polish international Dubček. Careless pass though. Here's Robertson. Johnston calls for the ball. A stumble there from Johnston, and Lex Bailey stayed on his feet to take possession. A clumsy pass there from Bailey, giving the throw. There's Boris Johnston. Opportunism at its best. Rangers are ahead. The Rangers Legion celebrate. And Boris Johnston, who could so easily have been playing for Celtic, scores for Rangers.
Well, I think Rangers have been threatening this from the off-drop. They've been very positive in going forward. It's a misheader from Lex Bailey, so I'm not quite sure, but what about this for opportunism? That's finishing of the highest quality.
Celtic hitting back straight away. They want a corner kick. Oh, what a start to the match. Corner from Joe Miller.
Well, I'd like to see this again, Jock, because Chris Woods gets in all sorts of trouble from the corner. as it comes over. It's right under his crossbar. Tries to push it over, only succeeds in pushing it down. It bounces at the right side, and I think, oh, he recovers brilliantly, this Chris Woods.
Bailey looking for Craney through the middle, but Brown is underneath that. Good play by Grant. Here's Nicholas. Playing it forward for Craney. Well, that's a great goal from Craney nearly. Oh, wonderful effort from Jerry Craney. That must have been inches over the bar. Tackle came from Elliott. That's fine play by Grant. Craney to Miller. Well, Celtic has certainly been stung by that goal. Here's Charlie Nicholas. Superb goalkeeping. Headed down by Craney, finds Nicholas. He's looking for a shooting chance. Back from Craney. Craney again. Well, what a promising partnership this is proving to be. All the big men are up. Celtic determined to equalise before half-time. Here's John Collins. There goes Elliott. Yes! Paul Elliott does it again for Celtic. And these Celtic fans celebrate. They love Paul Elliott dearly, and that's one of the reasons why. His fourth goal of the season, all of them from headers, and it's his second against Rangers.
Well, you have to say this was deserved, this. But it's a super header from Paul Elliott, who's brilliant in there. That's a great climb. And into the roof of the net it goes. It's just the boost that Celtic wanted.
It will be interesting to see if they can pick things up where they left off. There's Grant to Craney. Good play from Craney. Beaten away by Woods as Nicholas came in. And Celtic giving a very early answer to that question. There's Collins. John Collins appears to find gaps when there really are none. So Celtic getting off to a brisk start. So Ali McCoist on replacing Maurice Johnston. Here's Joe Miller. It's been a very interesting contest between Miller and Monroe. Here's Spackman. The interception made by Collins. Here's Nicholas. Still Charlie Nicholas. And off the inside of the post. Charlie Nicholas wonders just what he has to do to score for Celtic.
Well, the roof nearly came off Celtic Park there. But what a tremendous skill again from Nicholas. These people talk about as he got it. Look at that. And what a finish. It's a superb strike.
Well, Celtic can either be saddened by that or lifted, and it looks as though they've been lifted. Well, that's great play again. Joe Miller. That's a corner kick, I think. Yes, the linesman's given it. Well, Celtic in this kind of mood look to be irresistible. There's Collins looking for Fulton, who was caught there by Harlock. The referee waves play on as Fulton lies on the floor. Celtic bench incensed by that as McCoist is in the clear. A chance for Rangers. Here's McCoist. He must score. Rangers take the lead. Ali McCoist gets his 12th goal of the season. And Celtic feeling very aggrieved about the fact that Mark Fulton is still on the ground inside the Rangers half.
Well, this is a tremendous goal for Celtic. There's no question of him being offside here, but what composure he shows. They've lost their top goal scorer. He makes Pat Bonner go on his backside and he just rolls it into the empty net. That's a tremendous piece of finishing.
Throughout Scotland, this is the typical meeting place where football is discussed on a daily basis. Everyone has an opinion and no one is frightened to offer advice, even to the biggest names in the game. In Glasgow, most pubs tend to lean either one way or the other, and there's no doubt where the loyalties lie in this case. Rangers is the favourite topic of conversation here, and no one is spared from the punters' blunt views. Despite all the success, even Graham Souness has to take some stick from time to time.
He's far too arrogant, too single-minded. He is arrogant, but when you've been there and done the business, you can afford to be arrogant. It's as simple as that.
I think he's done exceptionally well at Rangers. I just cast my mind back 5 years before he came. They weren't doing very well at all. Middle of the table, 4th, 5th in the league. Wasn't good enough for Rangers Football Club. And I think since he's came, they look as if they're going to win something every season now. They've got the best players, a great set of fans. The place is buzzing every Saturday. I think it's been great for Scottish football.
He's done a tremendous job over the last 4 or 5 years, 4 years ever since he came to Ibrox. He signed a Catholic. As far as I'm concerned, tremendous player. Right? He's done the job for Rangers Football Club, scored tremendous goals, and one of the best players out. And he had to buy him.
It didn't bother me. I thought about it at the time, but I came out here, my mate, and we sat with Blether to come out and see the reaction of people. And obviously there was a lot of people who were upset and didn't think it should happen. But to me, he's a good striker. He puts the ball in the net and he earned us some really valuable points last year. And that's what it's all about.
It was a big deal, but we get used to it.
Why was it a big deal for you?
Because it was against everything that we'd been brought up to believe Rangers was about. It was against the tradition of the club.
I think he's a quality player and I'm glad they signed him. I think if you just even watch him when he scored against Celtic, how happy he was. I think the players have accepted him, I think the fans have now as well.
Future, I'd just like to see Rangers go from strength to strength. I'd like to see them do well in Europe, but I still think they lack that wee bit in Europe now. When you see like Italian teams and that, I think Rangers are a good bit behind them just now. Anyway. I'd like to see them in future going to be a force in Europe, but as I say, I think it'll be a few years from now. I know.
I think now they're back on the right road and hopefully they'll go into maybe European glories. Well, I don't see it in the near future, possibly near 5-10 years time.
Looking into the future, in 10 years time, what do you expect to be doing and where will you be?
10 years time I'll have had the sack and I'll have been retired from football and hopefully spend a lot more time with my family.
Do you seriously believe that old truism about football, the only thing that's guaranteed is that a football manager will get the sack? Do you ever worry about it? Or do you feel it will definitely come true?
I'm a wee bit more comfortable about it now. I mean, as a player, I was always looking over my shoulder who was going to replace me, and as a manager, I feel I could still fail, but I'd feel a wee bit happier the fact that I've won a couple of championships and a couple of trophies. So, you know, and I won a few things as a player, so I wouldn't feel a total failure, no. I'm more I can live with it. I'm more comfortable with it now, that thought, than I was the first day I walked in the door.
So the success that you've had in management has just recently led to you being linked to, for instance, the Real Madrid job. And I do recall you saying that you couldn't afford the drop in salary. But seriously, how do you react when you are linked with jobs like that?
That's, you know, the word exclusive seems to be used every day in certain newspapers and certain television programs. It'd be of no interest to me. I've got a contract here. I'm happy here. I'm as happy as I've been in my footballing life, I feel like. You know, I'm in charge of basically everything that goes on at the club in football terms. And I work with great people. I want to try and establish something here that I'll be lasting. You know, that when my time comes for me to go, that I'll stand back and maybe be given another job somewhere within the club and say, well, I was partly responsible for creating whatever we've created. You know, to pass on a youth system that's second to none, to pass on a reserve team that's got players bursting to get into the first team, and to pass on a really good first team that's capable of competing at the very highest level and be involved in creating the best stadium, or one of the best stadiums in Europe, certainly the best stadium in Britain. I have no intention of leaving this place. I don't want to leave. And that's short term, that's both in the year and a half of my contract that's left, and I'd hope to be signing a long-term contract after that if the board sees fit.